Hello, wonderful students. We are going to review and practice all of the exponent properties that we have learned thus far. Our learning target is that we'll be able to memorize the rule and apply each of the exponent properties in a variety of examples. So hopefully you feel pretty good about all those that we've learned and that you've been taking notes. Our lesson for today is to summarize everything and to practice it and apply it. Okay. So hopefully you have the sheet that I attached. If not, make sure you jot down some notes on a separate sheet of paper. But we're going to go through each property. You'll notice on your sheet that I've defined the property, and then I've given you an example with numbers and an example with variables. So the first one that we're going to review is the product of powers property. I'm going to use my highlighter here. Okay, so the product of powers property states that when you are multiplying powers with the same base, you add the exponents. So if we look at this first example here, you'll see that I'm multiplying 4 to the third times 4 to the fifth. Both of those numbers have a base of 4. And since we're multiplying, we can use product of powers and add the exponents. So the simplified answer for that would be 4 to the 8th power. Whoops. If they're solvable, meaning if the answers are not going to be a huge number, we can go ahead and evaluate. If it is going to be a huge number and you don't have access to a calculator, don't worry about evaluating it. But in this case, 4 to the 8th power, whoops, I'm using my calculator right now. 4 to the power of 8 is 65,536. So again, if you have access to a calculator, go ahead and evaluate it. And now my stylus is not working again. Darn. 65,536. All right, so another example with variables would be this one here. H to the 2nd power times h to the 7th. We have this h as the base for both. It's multiplication, so we can add the exponents, and our final answer would be h to the power of 9. We can't evaluate that because we don't know what h is equal to, so we leave it just like that, h to the power of 9. So then below, there's another row for each one of the powers for you to simplify and solve on your own. So what I would suggest doing for these videos would be to, if you feel like, gosh, I need Ms. Iguchi's instruction, I need her guided step-by-steps of how to do this, go ahead and do the problems with me while you're watching the video. If not, you can, if you feel confident, you can go ahead and give them a try on your own. Pause the video right now, go try them on your own, and then fast forward to the last 10 seconds of the video to check your answers and see how you did. Okay? So, for those of you that are doing it with me right now, let me try my stylus one more time. I don't know why it's not working. Okay, so you'll notice that we are multiplying. There we go. All 3 numbers are 2's. So therefore, I'm allowed to add the exponents because of the product of powers property. So I can add 2 plus 3 plus 4. 2 to the power of 9 would be my simplified answer written as a power. If I have access to a calculator, I'm going to go ahead and evaluate, and I do have access to a calculator. So I'm going to raise 2 to the 9th power, and I got 512. Okay, the next one, you'll notice we're multiplying, but we have 2 different variables. We have the variable m, we have the variable k. We are only allowed to add the exponents if the bases are the same. So I cannot add the 4 and the 5. But what I can add would be the 4 and the 1 that's technically not there, but it actually is, because it's just m, which is m to the first power. So I'm going to add the exponents that are with the m's, m plus 1, which is m to the 5th power. There's nothing I can add to the k, so I just leave it as m to the 5th power times k to the 5th power, and that's it. That's as simplified as I can get. On the last one, I have two different bases. Everything here is multiplication, so I am allowed to use product of powers property when the bases are the same. So I'm going to start with the 5s, and I'm going to add the exponents, 3 plus 2. So that's going to be 5 to the 5th power. And now I'm going to look at the x's. I've got x to the 3rd and x to the 6th. So I'm going to add 3 plus 6, which is x to the 9th power. So there is my simplified version written as a power, but I could, if I have access to a calculator, which I do, I'm going to go ahead and evaluate by raising 5 to the 5th power. So 5 to the 5th power is 3,125. There's nothing I can do to the x, so I'm going to just leave it as times x to the 9th power, because I don't know what the value of x is. I'm going to double check that just to make sure. 5 to the power of 5. Yes, 3,125 times x to the 9th power. And that's it. So just going back over it for the people that paused the video, the answer to the first one is 2 to the 9th, or 512. The answer to the second one is m to the 5th power times k to the 5th power. And then the last one is 5 to the 5th times x to the 9th, or 3,125 x to the 9th power.